Okay, hello again and welcome independent living students to the wellness presentation lecture. Now, in one of the previous presentation lectures that you have viewed was titled Health and Wellness. Well, even though health and wellness are normally combined into one particular category, they are separate concepts. So let's take a look at specifically how wellness fits into our overall way of life. Let's first define wellness. So if we take a pretty long, extensive definition of what wellness is feeling good enough about yourself to regularly take stock of or assess your life, to intervene and nourish yourself whenever necessary, to find or develop the needed reinforcement and motivation to continue your movement toward personal growth, development, and utilization of your potential. If we kind of simplify it and bring it back, the 7th grade definition of wellness is feeling good enough about yourself that you will make the changes in your life that need changing. So the interesting thing when it comes to wellness is change sometimes is not easy, change is hard, and sometimes change is resisted. But change is necessary in order to achieve wellness. What we're going to do over the course of exploring what wellness is and how it impacts our lives is we're going to take a look to see why there are some people who are resistant to what it would take to achieve wellness. And we'll take a look at a number of different examples in class throughout the course of studying what wellness exactly is. So what we're going to do is next time that we meet in class, you're going to be exposed to a story of Robert and Marilyn. So these are two individuals who lived in the public eye back in the 1950s. And based off of their relationship, there are some conclusions that can be drawn after reading the story. So once you get a chance to read the story, I want you to think about a couple of different questions. Number one, who has health? So if we take a look at these two different individuals and we read this story and this relationship between these two individuals, which of the two has health, or do they both have health? Who has wellness? Does Robert and Marilyn have wellness? Does just Robert or Marilyn have wellness? Or do neither have wellness? Why do you think we choose not to change things that need changing? If we know that making simple changes will impact in a positive manner our wellness, why do we resist those changes? And the last one, can you think of anyone in your life who exemplifies wellness? Which means taking the necessary steps, making the necessary changes when necessary in order to achieve wellness. All right, we will also be exploring a video called The 10 Feathers of Happiness. So you have that resource available to you here where you can revisit it and watch it as many times as possible. But we will be taking a look at it in class with some further discussion and evaluation of what the 10 Feathers of Happiness means and how it can impact our wellness. And the wellness wheel. God, we've seen this before. So the wellness wheel, when it comes to sources of strength, is very similar, if not identical. I mean, it is something that we need to go by, live by. In order for us to be able to achieve wellness, we need to take a look at different categories such as intellectual, social, physical, spiritual, occupational, emotional, and even environmental. And some of these we've already covered when we were talking about what is health and wellness. So in order to achieve wellness, there are 3 steps that can be taken. 3 easy steps. If you're willing to do this, chances are you'll be able to achieve wellness. Number 1, regularly assess your life. Self-assess. How are you physically? How are you financially? How are you spiritually? Are you doing things that are going to help with your health, things within your control? Are you eating right? Are you not doing the things that could impact your physical health from a negative standpoint? Are you not smoking? Are you not drinking? Are you not doing some of these things? So if you regularly assess where you are in your life, that is step 1 to achieving wellness. Number 2, intervention and nourishment. Health is a state of body and wellness. Health is a state of body where wellness is a state of being. So are you, and when we talk about nourishment here, we're not necessarily talking about foods and things that we eat and drink. We're talking about surrounding ourselves with the proper environmental factors. Do we have a support system, a support structure in place? Do we have friends, family who are willing to intervene and help guide us in the right place on our journey to wellness? Are we nourished from a number of different aspects? Are we nourished in terms of laughter? Are we nourished in terms of environmental experiences? Are we nourished in terms of our spiritual experiences? It's not necessarily just what we would eat or drink. Number 3, reinforcement and motivation. Positive and negative feedback. Here's the thing. When it comes to achieving wellness, if you want to live wellness, you have to be able to accept failure. You have to be able to do things, try things, fail at things, learn from those failures in order to make the necessary corrections in order to make achievements possible. There's nobody in this world who is able to take on a specific task and do it perfectly the first time without having any exposure to how to do it, any directions. Think about it this way. You buy a bookshelf. That bookshelf arrives at your home. It is in pieces. Is it possible to be able to put that bookshelf together without any directions, without any knowledge of how things like this go together, without any knowledge of being able to use tools? And chances are the answer is no. And if that's the case, then we need to trial and error, try this, try that, doesn't work, we've experienced failure, learn from our failures, don't repeat them until we can achieve our necessary goal. Reinforcement and motivation. There is always room for improvement. So if you continue to work to get better each and every day of your life, you are living wellness. Wellness is a process. It is never totally achieved. So it is always ongoing. If you expect miracles to occur overnight, you will be severely disappointed. Not to say that they don't happen, but if you expect them to happen and you are depending on them to happen to achieve wellness, it's probably not going to happen, at least not in the likelihood that you would need it to in order to achieve wellness. Change and growth are slow processes. These are not going to happen overnight. They happen over time. Habits need to be developed. And when they are developed, then you start to see the changes coming slowly. The important thing is that you have become more committed to and more involved with your own life. What are the aspects of your life that you can control to achieve wellness? Understanding those circumstances as well as the circumstances that are outside of your control. There is no reason for us to get negatively impacted to the point where it overtakes our thinking based off of factors that are outside of our control. So focus on what is in our control. We will be doing another activity also in class. It's going to be the wellness word collage, in which you will create a collage similar to the graphic here. You will follow the three steps of wellness to come up with your answers. What is going to impact your wellness? And we have a couple of resources which you can preview. We have wordle.net and we also have worditout.com. So these two resources, which are linked below, you can use to preview, but we will be putting these practices into play in class in a wellness word collage activity. Then, after that, we will use the wellness wheel or the wheel of wellness to reflect on your life wellness. And this will be posted in Google Classroom, and you'll have an opportunity to see, where do we stand currently? Where do I stand currently on the wellness wheel? Am I in good shape? Am I on the right track to wellness? Or do I need to make some serious changes in order to achieve wellness? Hopefully, this activity will bring light onto some of those questions. We'll take a look at health and wellness in a digital world. Now, a digital world, if you think about it, is going to impact everything that we do. We have digital devices that are available to us all the time. We are constantly using them for research, for interaction with friends. And by doing so, sometimes this can impact our overall wellness. So how do we navigate a digital world in order to achieve wellness? There are pitfalls, there are traps There are instances that we interact in our digital world that we need to be aware of and need to avoid. So how do we necessarily do that? So we'll take a look. There's a video here that you can utilize as a resource. We will also be viewing this in class, as well as doing some guided and independent practice activities involving this particular video. That concludes the presentation on wellness, presentation lecture on wellness. So please make sure that you review it if needed. Utilize the links in the presentation lecture for viewing of resources, and answer the embedded questions, and then mark it as done in Google Classroom when you have it completed. And I will see you next time we meet in class.